definitely. Um, so one thing you learned during all your pain was, suffering is what you have two choices. While you suffer, you can succumb to the debilitating discomfort and misery, or you can learn to embrace it and use it to make you stronger or a better human being. You chose a latter. Like, why? Like, how did you remain strong during like a time of, I guess you can say uncertainty? Like, you know, when most people get that kind of news, like, like you said, you went through the emotions. How did you come to a place where you controlled your mind to be stronger and, just overcome the uncertainty, at the time?
Yeah, it certainly wasn't something that I think, bang, it happened. I guess over these last 9 years, I've developed what I call my four truths. And I'll
Yep.
give them to you. If I'm looking down, they're on a post-it note that I have here sitting on my desk. And I see them multiple times every day, and they're just one sentence each. And the first one is, and it kind of goes to the answer to your question: you need to control your mind, or your mind will control you. And the
Yeah.
second one is you need to embrace the pain and the difficulty that we all experience in life, and use that to make you a stronger and more determined individual. The third one is, for lack of a better word, a legacy truth, and it's this: what you leave behind is what you weave in the hearts of other people. And then the fourth one, pretty self-explanatory: as long as you don't quit, you can never be defeated. And so I use these truths, to kind of guide my life. I use them with what I call also the three F's, which are faith, family, and friends. And
Hmm.
those have gotten me through this. And if you think about it, our brains are hardwired to avoid pain and discomfort and to seek
Mhm.
pleasure.
Yep.
And it's foreign to us, as I said, number two, to embrace that pain. We want to get away from it. I mean, some people get away from it, way too much alcohol, too much drugs, that
Yeah.
kind of stuff. But what if instead of running from it, you took it and flipped it inside and burned it as fuel, or used it as energy to make you a stronger person? And that's what I've come to do. I've
Yeah.
I had my leg amputated or my foot amputated in 2018, and my leg amputated in 2020. And it's
Wow.
like, okay, yeah, this sucks, but I'm just going to use it to make me a better person.
Mhm.
Wow. That's amazing. Yeah, because most people, it's hard to come to that realization, and just being strong like that. Was there like a certain moment where you started to control your mind or anything, or was there a moment where you were going through it like I got to just change my mindset, just or anything, or
I think it's sort of come over these last 9 years. I'm not going to say, when I was in high school, I mentioned I had three knee surgeries, and I remember when I came back playing from that,
Mhm.
I remember my mind was like, hey, you're probably a step slower, and coaches aren't going to want to recruit you to play in college. And I think the first thing, I've also read articles that said, we get 60 to 70,000 thoughts in our brain every day. So,
Yeah,
to be cognizant of, hey, that's a negative thought that just came in here. I got to do something with that. And I was like, wait a minute, I'm still playing at an elite level, and coaches are still contacting me, to play in college. So no, wait a minute, I got to flip that narrative. I got to flip that around to something positive. And it's not easy, and it's not going to happen overnight where you're just going to be, okay, all of a sudden I'm positive now.
yeah,
That's definitely not the case. But I remember two quick stories. One, there was a professor back in the 1950s at Johns Hopkins University who conducted this experiment. He took rats and he put them in water that was over their head. And he wanted to see how long they'd tread water before, they sank and were going to drown. And just
right,
before they did that, he grabbed the rat, pulled it out, dried it off, and let it rest for a while. And it was about 15 minutes for most rats that before they sunk. And then he put them back in the tank. And the rats, almost to a, I was going to say to a person, almost to a rat, treaded water for 60 more hours. Think about that. First time, 15 minutes. That's all I can do. 15 minutes, boom, I'm going to sink. Second time, 60 hours, which to
Wow.
me
Crazy.
reminded me of two
Yeah.
things. One, the importance of hope, the importance of knowing that, hey, I got to have hope. I've got to have, the thought of something better happening for me. And two, also the understanding of how much more our bodies can do, how much more
Yep.
capable our bodies are. The Navy SEALs talk about their 40% rule,
Yeah.
where if you don't think you can run another step or do another push-up, you're only at 40% of your maximum. You still have 60% left to give to yourself.
Yep.
And the more I realize that, the more I realize I can handle so much more than what I think I can.
Wow, that's amazing.
That is.
Amazing mindset.
That is.
Thank you for sharing that.
Sure.
Definitely appreciate that. Thank you.
So Terry, with your book, Sustainable Excellence and 10 Principles of Leading Your Uncommon and Extraordinary Life, tell us the process of writing it and just any information on the book itself.
Sure. So the book is really born out of two conversations I had. One was with a former player that I coached in high school who moved to Colorado with her fiance, and my wife and I had dinner with them. And I remember saying to her one night, I'm really excited that you're living close and I can watch you find and live your purpose. And she got real quiet for a while. And she kind of looked at me and she's like, well, Coach, what do you think my purpose is? So I have no idea what your purpose is, but that's what your life should be about, finding the reason you were put on this earth and then living that reason. So that was one conversation. And then I had a conversation with a young man in college, and he asked me what I thought were the most important things that he should know to not just be successful in his job or in business, but in life overall. And I didn't want to give him the, get up early, work hard, help others kind of stuff. Not that those aren't important. They are. They're incredibly important. But I thought they'd been done. So I wanted to maybe give him something a little bit different. And so I thought about it for a while, wrote down some notes, and eventually I had these 10 thoughts, these 10 principles, and I sent them to him. And then I kind of stepped back and I was like, I got a life story that fits under this principle, or I know somebody whose life emulates that principle. So I had my leg amputated in April of 2020, started chemotherapy for the tumors in my lungs in June of 2020. So during that 3-month period that I was healing, I just sat down at the computer every day and started to build stories underneath each one of those principles. And that's how Sustainable Excellence, the 10 Principles to Leading Your Uncommon and Extraordinary Life came about.
Nice.
That's great.
That's awesome.
Yeah, you took your experiences and just put it under the principles or purposes that you jotted down. That's pretty amazing.
Yeah, a lot of it is mine, but like I said, some of it were other people that I knew that I thought, this will make a good story and things like that. So it was sort of a collection of things I've learned or things I've experienced over, I won't tell you how old I am, years. So
Got you, definitely.
Yeah, we can go the best if you just fuck with me. I can keep you with the best. I'm gonna keep you. I can keep you with the best if you just fuck with me. I can keep you with the best. I'm gonna treat you. I can keep you with the best. Eating good, shopping sprees. I can keep you with the best. Give you what you want. I can keep you with the best if you just fuck with me. I can keep you with the best. I'm that nigga.